able to pull that up, the latest version?
Hopefully everybody brought their papers from last month.
Yes, where are we starting? That's what I was curious about.
Where did we finish up? I think. Okay, that's what we thought. Yep,
Windows, right?
perfect, yes. And with David owing us a should. That's where we ended.
What do I owe?
A should,
Should?
yes,
I've got a pocket full
instead of a
them.
must.
David, that was exterior walls and trim number 4.
Yes.
Thought it was windows,
No,
Actually,
windows,
windows and doors.
Okay.
windows and doors.
I was hoping we got further than that last time. I thought we did, so.
Okay, so for, maybe, Richard, just to recap, since Kara wasn't here, we have the strike-throughs that staff made. You're aware, okay, so you've been, okay, never mind. Okay.
David, do you want to lead us on this, or do you want us?
Trying to remember if we actually did A or whether we started. I think we did A. B. Okay, so Roxanne, did you have anything for that?
Well, my only question had to do with, staff was changing the mandatory must language that we had suggested back to should. And I just wanted to make sure that it was clear, when you read the first part of 4, before subparagraph A, it's a mandatory paragraph, I believe, it must. And then we flip and say it should. And to me, there's some inconsistency there, and maybe we should discuss that.
So,
Oh, we
let
should.
let me just clarify that, and I think those comments in purple are mine. I'm not making changes, I'm making suggestions. It's sort of
Right.
become a bit of a dynamic document with several people making suggestions, so
Right.
open to that conversation.
Right, that's what I'm
absolutely.
saying, we should discuss it to see whether we want to do that or not. Yes.
As I was walking in here today, one of our audience members gave me a suggestion, which I find kind of refreshing. So I'm going to give it a shot. He hasn't actually written this one, so I'm going to wing it. If we were to change A to read something like, repair or replace wooden windows on street-facing elevations in kind. There is no should and there is no must.
Read that again, so,
Repair or replace wooden windows on street-facing elevations in kind.
Would that behave the same way as a must? If, just so, because staff will need to know as well.
I think it's a refreshing way to get around the should and must argument. Now it's up to the commissioners to decide.
except we're drafting something purposely to be vague, and I don't think that's prudent.
Sounds pretty clear to me. Tells them what to do.
Yeah, but it's more must than should. Just a thought, I'm just rendering my opinion.
I think it gives clear guidance.
Well, I think for this one, staff was fine with the must, with the way it was worded. Wooden windows on street-facing elevations must be replaced or repaired in kind. We were okay with that one.
Okay.
And then Roxanne was looking for consistency when we got to B. I think, was it B, Roxanne, where you were saying that staff was asking to go back to should or suggesting it? Or was it D?
I have it marked, hang on. I have it marked A and C.
Okay, neither one. I see, where it says should have. True or simulated divided lights.
I had no problem with B except for the word installation, which looks like it's capitalized with an I. It's hard to see. And I think it probably got missed in something. That's a nit, though, the word installation.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're okay with C? All right, we're okay with B? Beg your pardon.
Yes.
As written in front of us, is that correct?
Yep. Discussion number C. Any problems with that one?
Are we going with the must or the should?
Should have.
Right.
And yeah, staff was
Pamela.
recommending
Purple is
should.
staff.
Let's see if I can apply my trick from before. Replacement windows, windows replacing existing windows with incorporating divided lights.
I think it would be replace windows that incorporate divided lights with true or simulated divided lights.
Excellent. No should, no must, no complaints.
You want to repeat that?
Behaves as a must.
But it's still, yeah. That would be a must.
In that,
Yes. Replace windows that incorporate divided lights with true or simulated divided lights. I guess it would be replace existing windows that incorporate divided lights with
Yeah,
true
the-
or simulated divided lights.
The replacement of, yeah. Or you can leave it as is and just replace should have with must have.
And remember, it's a subparagraph to paragraph 4, which is a must mandatory paragraph. So don't forget. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been on the commission as long as you, David, but it seems like we always have the issue about the simulated divided light, and we always want to make sure we aren't having those snap-in muntins and things like that.
I'm fine with it as written originally without the should have and just have it as must have and just leave it as is.
Right.
Okay with that?
I'm
Ann?
okay with that, too.
Just because someone must have, they could still provide a compelling reason. and
Absolutely.
And we could always create an exception, they could still get their way, so, but the onus and the burden is going to be on them.
I should point out that we have in the past allowed between the glass muntin.
Mhm.
I'm trying to, the real change, forgetting the must and should discussion, is that, do we all agree that that's not a reasonable solution?
That's subparagraph D. We're not there yet.
Well, we say, in C, we say simulated divided light.
I know, but we say between the glass is not permitted in D.
Okay, even more to the point. Both occur.
Okay. So everyone's good with C as is, remove the should have, and it becomes a must have like it was originally. Everyone's fine with D.
Yes?
Okay.
Okay, the little diagram is next. That's an all-new diagram, hoping to clear up the various kinds of divided lights.
Sure, I just would make the 3 references to lights, Lights, change it to Lites to be consistent with the rest of the pane is a light, not a Light. Does that make sense?
Just a stupid.
That, I thought it was
mistake.
just autocorrect, you know how that works? And then at the very end of that sentence, where it says, "and grids between the glass," in quotes, the grids should be capitalized in glass, just to be consistent. That's it. That's a nit.
Do we need any, like, green check mark or red X next to, because the top 2 are the ones that are permitted and the bottom 2 are the ones that aren't, right? In the visual. The grids between the glass, though, on the bottom?
I beg your pardon. You're correct, Carol.
Well, so I just think if somebody looked at this, they would probably be like, okay, so all 4 of these are permitted. If we want to just, is that easy to add like a little green check or red X?
Could say in the text where it says grids between the glass, parentheses, not appropriate, close paren.
Well, we use the term "not permitted." We took out "not appropriate." So let's be consistent.
I think the last word of that paragraph is we replace appropriate with permitted.
But you were saying on the visual too, right?
Yeah,
In
right on the
parentheses.
diagrams.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, the last sentence too.
Yeah, so just the last sentence is removable grids in quotes and grids between the glass quotes are less convincing and are not permitted.
We would also add in the graphic itself, where there's a diagram of the grids between the glass, right after the word glass there, we would say not permitted.
In that last sentence too, is there a reason removable grids is capitalized? Like why the G in grids is capitalized? Also why they're in quotation marks, since they're not in quotation marks for 4D?
I guess I was thinking that removable grids is kind of a title, so I capitalized it. And grids between the glass could be written either way, and I
Well-
don't really care.
They're capitalized in the drawings.
I think,
Capitalized, okay?
yeah, they're all
everybody?
capitalized.
Yeah.
But that's probably a label thing, right?
Yeah.
This is semantics, so it probably doesn't matter.
No dog in this fight. But I agree it should be consistent, so it could go either way, and as long as it's consistent.
I would just write it the same as 4D and just say removable grids and grids between the glass are less convincing or not permitted. Does that make sense? Without the quotations and without caps.
Okay. Okay, it's a must-should question again. I'm voting for must. Staff is suggesting should. 5, windows and doors of existing structures must or should retain their original size and dimension, except as may be modified to accommodate code compliance and accessibility.
I'm with staff on this one because I think this generally is something with remodels. When we had our house, it was pokey little windows. I didn't want bigger windows for accessibility or code compliance. I just wanted bigger windows to see the backyard. So, I think should here. But on our house, our front door went bigger, every window in the house went bigger, but it had nothing to do with code compliance or accessibility. So I think this one is naturally lends itself to more to flexibility. And a lot of the time, the folks that come through us, I just think of the remodels that have been before us, almost everyone is going with a slightly bigger window or different door, or replacing a hokey back door with a door with transom lights or side lights. And it's never, you never want someone to come before us and explain to code or ADA, or that's the reason. It's just, I want a new prominent front door, which will add character to this home. So I think giving them more flexibility there would help us.
I'm okay with that. Should's fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, David, you're doing a good job working us through it, so. So we're on 6 now?
6. Window and door surrounds and trim, should or must, match the original door window surrounds and trim. Replacing sash windows should not alter the original trim.
I'd just like to ask a question. I'm okay with should, but I'd like to understand, when would it not match? I mean, I find it,
A lot of times, particularly in an old house, the trim can be quite elaborate. It can have a little cove at the top, and it can have flutes in the jam pieces, and an exaggerated sill piece and all of that. A lot of people will come along and plug in a replacement window and slap on 1x4s for trim, and that's it, they're done. Lost that historic detail.
Yeah, I think you would see that where there is it was a handmade trim. The profile can't be bought at Lowe's or somewhere else, and nobody has taken that extra step to replicate what was there.
My feeling is the same as 5. I think we give them the flexibility, but we still got the hammer to make sure it gets done right. I think of the case on Linden, close to where you live. There was the people that did the extension of the garage, and it wasn't trim, but it was the raft details. And they were very unique with the swoop and the detail. And someone here had said, hey, what are the raft details going to look like? And he said, I'm going to do the best I can to match and copy exactly what's there. And we said, beautiful.
He's doing a
Because-
good job too.
Yeah, because to us, that was something that was a character-defining feature of that facade, of that elevation. So I think we can handle it that way like we've done in the past. But again, just from a cost perspective, for someone to replace that window but leave the trim, invariably that trim has got to go, it's rotted, they're having to redo it all, I think it gives us more flexibility without having to be so hard-lined on it.
yeah, it's not that expensive, though, to custom mill trim, because I did it on the interior of my house to match the original, because it's Tufts House, and it wasn't that expensive. They do it all computerized, so it's not awful.
So they would be hard pressed to prove to us why they can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Number 7, the number and size of panes, mullions, and muntins, and all window and door hardware should or must be compatible with those of the existing windows and doors. I would say that would be important, should be must.
Not saying identical, saying compatible. So, yeah, I'm fine with the must there.
I just have a question. The house that we just approved on Graham and Mackenzie, it's a Mech something,
On the hill?
at the
right
bottom
across
of the
from
hill,
Massey,
yeah. I know that when they did the windows, originally he said all the windows are all going to be different on purpose. Remember the 2-over ones or the 4-over ones or whatever. Does this prohibit people from doing that? If we said must? I don't know.
Well, we're determining whether it's compatible or not. It's not identical. So he can make the case in saying, hey, on this side of the house, it's compatible for X, Y, and Z, but on the front, we've changed the windows. They're going to be arched windows. And, so you can have variations on them, provided it's compatible as a whole
Okay,
with the, to me.
okay.
just
I'm
with
fine
the
with it. I just want to make sure we don't prevent someone from doing that.
Most of these that have with existing X, Y, and Z we're like basically talking about remodels, right? I mean, I know it applies to new builds too, but
Well, this whole section exists.
what?
All this whole section relates to existing houses.
Yeah, so the Graham house probably wouldn't.
Well, the problem is in in the new construction, we have very few standards, and we refer to the fact that these often apply to new construction also. So I would make the argument, if we had the issue, we would look here, because we don't have it defined in new construction, right?
Yeah. But
Except
it's
where
a-
we're matching an existing, they ain't no existing, so now it's up to the designer. New house, new windows, nothing to match.
As long as they don't have like a porthole and a
Well,
big picture window.
They have to be they have to be part of the historic district. They can't be an odd man out.
Yeah.
Through, from, I guess, in the very first part of the section where it says, I have it here.
Well, we're leaving it must, right? Is that what you said? So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and your concern was, is it too tight? But
Right.
But we've got compatibility.
Okay,
You know, if you keep going, if there's someone who wants a modern square window, but they're doing a French-style house, they may be the identical window all across, but we're gonna say it's just not compatible with the structure because of the style, and
okay.
I think that's our, just like congruency, that's sort of a loose way where we get to adjudicate upon it.
Almost every major section has this thing that says, must be compatible with the architecture, which is your point now, and also must be congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District. So that's, to me, is the overriding rule for everything else.
Okay, we're on 8.
New dormer windows on street-facing elevations should be compatible with the size and placement of existing dormer windows on street-facing elevations and must not compromise the architecture of the structure. I think the last part could be taken off because of what I just said about the opening paragraph for this section. But I don't mind being redundant. It's not a new requirement.
This is compromise the like architectural style or the physical structure.
Well, architecture is sort of encompasses all the parts of architecture, which includes style and proportion and so forth.
Okay, so it's more aesthetic than like structural.
So end the paragraph with the word elevations? Is that what you're saying? End the paragraph with the word elevations?
Second
Yeah.
elevations.
So new dormer windows on street-facing elevations should be compatible with the size and placement of existing dormer windows on street-facing elevations.
Period. Is that what you were
Yeah,
saying?
now staff has a comment about,
But if we stop it there, that, I think that comment goes away as well.
Yep.
If we stop the sentence at that second elevations.
well, I think the big difference is here it says must not compromise, and the opening paragraph says must be compatible with. More sense if we're going to be redundant to repeat word for word what's in the opening paragraph, B1. Or just take it off and rely on B1.
I'd prefer that. If we start to repeat B1, we're going to have to do that for every single subparagraph to be consistent.
Okay with, just brings us back to the staff comment. If you stop it there,
Are we stopping it after that street-facing elevations?
Yes. Right?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, and just get rid of the rest of the sentence?
Right.
Progress.
Nine. I'm suggesting a rewrite of 9 altogether.
So this is taken from the older standards. In the current standards, that's already gone.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So the numbering, the renumbering on here is actually the current numbering.
Right. I think I just missed just the duplicate 9
Yeah.
when I went back and did it, so. So 9, the only change to 9 is new windows and doors visible from the street, remove the word easily, must be compatible with existing units in proportion, shape, positioning, location, pattern, size, materials, detail, et cetera.
Okay, point of clarification, because I actually had this question for 8. Is street facing and visible from the street the same?
Did talk about that a little bit last,
Okay.
last time, I think.
'Cause those
They're not
dormers-
necessarily the same thing, because you can sometimes see side facades from the street that aren't facing the street. Occasionally, you can see a rear facade if it's a corner lot.
So the dormers that we approved on Woods a couple months ago, since that was not street facing, they wouldn't fall under the dormer window, the number 8. Oh, where did I go? I mean,
Are
he
you-
did.
Well, then, are you suggesting we add visible from the street instead of street facing in 8?
Asking for the language to be consistent.
Yeah, I think just, like, we got lucky because Jim is really good at what he does, so of course he's gonna make it consistent, but their dormers are super visible from the street. So I'm just wondering, does that fall under the same,
I think, you know, that the idea that we're setting rules about things that are facing the street, in my mind, we're really talking about parts of the structure that you can see from the street, as opposed to technically fronting, facing the street. And it wouldn't bother me if we changed all street facing to visible from the street
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah, the only thing there is, I think we've got to qualify the word visible.
you mean, because like someone could go like
I,
this?
and that's, you know,
Because that does happen.
That's our job, to argue.
so someone who walks by a house really slowly and
Yep, and goes like
stands
this.
there and they can look in the backyard and they go, what's visible to me? But 90% of the people drive by, unless you were peeping for that little back dormer, you're never going to see it, you know? So I agree with the point of saying, big picture, we don't just want the street face to be compatible and look right. We want the whole thing to feel that way. But anything is visible from anywhere, depending on how hard you want to look.
Maybe that's why they use the word easily visible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there was an attempt to address that in the number 9.
I mean, I'm fine to adjust saying visible from the street instead of the street facing. I know this would be a good thing to have Alex on, because there are certain, that's a much bigger conversation than just 8 and 9 on street facing. Because we have trees, there's driveways, there's entrances, there's
Outbuildings.
garages, that's a big,
And fences, like our fences, which one's, what's
But-
street
Street
facing?
facing to me would be your front facade, and if you are on a corner, that would be street facing as well. So otherwise, it's just the front.
Safest, I mean, knowing there's this bigger bite to be taken at some point, we just address them as we go, as opposed to trying to say, let's change them all without discussion.
so on 9, I'm fine to have easily back in, and I'm fine to have it be must.
Agree.
Then if we go back to 8, do we want to add, do we want to change street facing to easily visible from the street?
So new dormer windows on elevations easily visible from the street. Should,
Wouldn't even say on elevations, I'd just simply say easily visible.
okay, so not, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, okay. New dormer windows easily visible from the street should be compatible.
Okay with that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think, that's not addressing the big issue of the word street facing and other impacts. It's just dealing with this. If we can see it from the street, it should be compatible with the size and the placement of existing dormer windows. Yeah, I think that works.
And that language shows up twice in that sentence. So change them both.
Oh, yep.
Windows easily visible from the street. and
Do you
remove.
need, do you need the on-street, like, can we just end it? It should be compatible with the size and placement of existing dormer windows?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cleaner.
Okay. Okay. The document's getting shorter all the time.
So we're talking about,
This is going to be 5 words long.
okay, let me be sure I got this straight.
Be compatible.
Two dormer windows,
Right.
easily visible from the street, should be compatible with the size and placement of existing dormer windows.
Period.
Period.
Very nice.
New number 9, new windows and doors, easily visible from the street, must be compatible with existing units in proportion, shape, positioning, location, pattern, size, material, and detail.
Yep.
We just did this one, yeah.
But we put easily back in.
Right.
Yeah,
Confirm that we're on the
so
same
for the
page.
sake of completeness, you helped us out there. And, you know, a great case study for that one is the one Mark Parsons doing on Cherokee, where he came back with that dormer. Do you remember, what is it?
Everett,
Everett, I beg your pardon. Everett, and I forget the crossroad,
Palmetto.
Palmetto. But it's a corner lot. You have street facing, but there's dormers that are visible from the street, and there's a perfect example of pattern, size, materials, details, and it just looks right. You know, it's a case study for what we're trying to do here.
Yes,
Also Mark, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
work.
yes.
Okay, glass block.
And I just, to confirm, so I think the idea here with number 9 was that windows and doors would replace the word units. And so units, there in the middle of that sentence, more or less, goes away. Is that correct?
Which
Seems
number again?
redundant in number 9 with existing windows and doors instead of units,
I'm okay
windows
with
and
that.
doors. I think that was your suggestion, so you should be good with that.
No, it
But
was
wor-
staff's,
It works better. The sentence works better.
yeah.
Number 10, I got no gripes. I have to say, though, that even though we all hate glass block on the front, it is historically accurate. They did that back then, but I don't like it either, so.
Just curious, since we don't like glass block, we're only limiting it on street facing, so we're allowing it on the side of the house, even if it's easily visible.
It's up for debate.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm bringing it up. We're okay with that?
Visible.
It's mostly going to affect, I think, a bathroom on an elevation on the side of a house. And I don't know.
If it's street facing, it's only going to affect a bathroom on a corner lot on the side of the house.
Well, we're talking about an existing house. So if they have a bathroom, or if they're going to change things around inside and come up with a bathroom, now they have a choice. So it's not like they have to use glass block.
No, but they can use glass block on a non-street facing side. And that could be clearly visible from the street. And as long as we know that, that's okay.
I would say easily visible from the street. So I would be consistent.
I got no problem with it.
I don't either. I mean,
How do you phrase that?
You're awful quiet. Come on.
Glass block windows are not permitted on, do you just say elevations?
Or not permitted where easily visible from the street.
are not permitted if they're easily visible from the street. Or street facing or easily visible from the street.
Say easily visible from the
Right,
street.
because,
Are
yes.
not permitted on elevation, when easily visible from the street.
The only problem you have with that is if you have a front facade and they want to put a glass block window and they have a tree in front of it and they say it's not easily visible, you get into that argument. Versus if you left the language in about prohibiting on street facing, you never have that argument.
So that's adding then, right? If you're on street facing elevations or
Or,
those.
yeah.
easily-
I think that's redundant, and I
I
think
do too.
edges or whatever it is, and it conceals that piece of this existing old beautiful house, fine. It's not visible. It's not easily visible.
And
So
almost-
the tree gets cut down.
I think in 5 years, I've seen one case with glass block. And it
Did
was
that house on Linden have it? The brick one with the red door and stuff?
the house we just mentioned out there on, we were
Graham.
just talking about, the one on the slope.
Graham and, yeah, yes, yes.
I think
And
that's
it's
the
tucked
only
in the
house I
back.
can think of in 5 years where someone's actually had a proposal for glass blocking. Now it's new construction. I guess I'm going with that, is maybe this would be an Alex question, because he's been here so long. I mean, should glass block be permitted?
So we're easily visible.
I have no problem with it as is.
Okay.
I mean, I'd go either way. If I were to get out my rewrite pencil, I'd change it. But
Saying glass block windows are not permitted.
I like that.
But again, I don't know the angst. I don't know how many people come to staff. I can't imagine wanting them in my house, but
I know my friend just did a remodel and she put them in her bathroom, but she's just out of the historic district.
What else are people putting in their bathroom when they have those big windows, but they want light to come in, but not their neighbors? What else are you putting in there?
most of the time it's at a height above where you can see anything. But you
Or-
got to have it in there for code.
Or it's rain glass. I've used that in houses before where it's obscure, where you can't see through, but it lets the light through. Also, filmed glass is another one with an etching or something. That's pretty common.
If you prohibit it and you have some existing instances of it, someone could point to those and say, well, it's compatible with the district, particularly for this style home.
Yeah.
I haven't counted them up, but my guess is there are just so few.
Right.
It'd be a hard case to say it's not compatible because they got two of them over there.
You just want to go glass block windows are not permitted on street facing elevations, comma, or if easily visible from the, if easily visible.
Okay with that? Yep. Number 11.
Oh, there you go. That gets rid of that option. Digital film glass. Never mind.
There's your,
Painted or filmed glass on windows and doors is not permitted.
Please see number 11 if you have a bathroom.
Okay, I had a problem with this one because I think we should allow filmed glass on windows if it's not street facing or easily visible from the street. Because it's often used in bathroom applications. And I've built homes and used it, and it does not look bad.
I think it can be not bad and can also be really bad. Think of
Yes.
reflective.
Yes.
And
I'm
they-
not saying films. Well, okay, I see what you say.
We don't care about, like, I have the stuff you get at Lowe's that you can just pull right off, the like sticky stuff. We're talking about like permanent film, right?
No?
Well, that would
No,
fall under
those-
this.
say,
Because mine's on like a little door it's in the back, but still.
Is it visible from the street?
No. I mean, I guess it could be if you're really trying.
I think you're on record for what you just said.
I think films are a
Possibility-
really touchy subject because they can be really, as Roxanne indicates, if it's done tastefully, and that's up to the observer, it's okay. On the other hand, I've seen some really horrible ones.
Oh, yeah, like the holographic
Bird
stuff.
flowers, for
Yes,
example.
yes.
well, could the compatibility factor come in then? And I'm also thinking that there might be instances where someone's able to save an original window where they want that privacy, so they would tint it or put some film on it rather than replacing it.
I think the thing about and I told it because I know what holographic stuff you're talking about, and that just looks terrible. Is our intention, like, I guess I wonder if it's not permanent, so it's not affecting the actual house. It's affecting just the aesthetic.
Whether it's permanent or temporary shouldn't matter, but maybe just change the word not permitted to not appropriate. And then that would give the burden of proof to the applicant to say, oh, it is appropriate in this case because, I can't take a shower without my neighbor, looking out the window or something. I mean, each case could be heard individually. just a
I
thought.
I still kind of think the way it's worded right now is probably the best way to leave it. Because if it's in the rear of the house, unless you're going through somebody's bushes, you're not seeing it. It's not gonna, it shouldn't be easily visible from the street.
And I think I wonder, like, no one's coming to us with a reno or a new build and they're saying, oh, and we're just gonna put film on the window next year or something. Like, are we ever gonna hear that? Are we ever gonna hear someone's intention to go to Lowe's and buy some film or whatever and put it on a?
Not.
No, we're not compliance either.
Oh.
I think the way, just like you said, Maria, I think the way it's originally written is probably
Yeah.
the best way.
We're talking about 11, right? Make sure we're on.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's painted, tinted, or filmed glass on windows or doors is not appropriate on street-facing elevations.
Oh, wait, is not permitted or not appropriate?
Not appropriate.
Not appropriate.
Oh, okay, so, yes.
I mean,
I-
at Christmas time, my
yeah.
entire 4-bay back window has 5-year-old
Snowflakes.
finger paint and snowflakes all over it. And it's just, is the village ever going to go and say?
Richard,
not in No.
you're on record.
But I know what we want is we don't want luminous green and pink
Yeah.
glass panels on the
Right.
front door.
Right.
So
I
I feel
agree.
like this handles it appropriately.
Okay with that.
12.
Sliding doors are not permitted. I like that. However, that begs the question of so-called French doors. Did we do that already? The discussion about French doors?
No, we did it between you and I, because I had the issue, French doors now can be made to look, well, they're
Yeah,
sliding,
you're right.
but they're actually, well, they're sliding, but they're made to look like French doors. And a lot of times they're used in an application that could be on the front facade of a house, like a breezeway area or even a living room. And they're great because you don't have to allow for the opening inside your home, so it gives you more square footage that's usable. So in this respect, I think that would be a fine application. They're beautiful.
My parents have those and they're amazing. They're
Yeah.
gorgeous. They're on the back of their house. They're not
I'm-
historic.
I'm not,
Sliding door, but you would never know. I
Because
mean, when you
again,
look at it.
it's on the, it's not street facing, so people aren't going to see it.
Yeah.
But it leaves the homeowners to do whatever they want in their backyard. So I don't know why we would not permit them at all.
I'm fine with the original language. Sliding doors are not permitted on street-facing elevations, and in that situation, someone brings us a sample, they show pictures, they show 3 other houses in the village, and it's a beautiful application, we're gonna say,
Well, if we're going to do that, it should be not appropriate then versus not
I
permitted.
have to beg to disagree. The so-called sliding French doors don't look like French doors at all.
Oh, hold on, I gotta get a picture.
There are groups of four, often groups of 4 units. The 2 center ones swing in or out, I might point out. Swinging out doesn't take up your interior space. But they're not sliding, they're French doors.
swinging. Yeah, they almost fold on each other.
Right.
Like an accordion.
They swing. And the outer 2 are usually fixed in most houses unless you have a stacking setup, which really isn't historic at all.
I've seen many applications where the 4-panel unit, the 2 center ones, open this way and bypass over the solid. Yeah,
French doors at all. They look like sliding doors.
and they're not paned? Oh, see, I've seen them where they're, the muntins in them, so they look just like a French. Yeah, see this,
This distance, in a tiny photo, no problem.
right.
Little sun on it in life size, problem.
I think we're getting,
If they're not on street facing, you won't see them.
yeah, but we're saying sliding doors are not permitted, okay?
Okay
But
with that.
Fine.
well, not permitted on street-facing elevation, let me
I'm
finish.
okay with that, too.
Yeah, well, then I think we're good with that, and if someone came forward and said, yes, this is a sliding door, but really, that's only because of the movement, but the look of it is a French door, we can get on board with that if the case is strong enough. So I think we've still got leeway. If we said they're not appropriate, then I think we may have more run-of-the-mill sliding doors coming before us than the kind of sliding door that we envision that we could get behind if it wasn't street-facing, or if it's visible.
Okay.
I'm okay with sliding doors not permitted on street-facing elevations.
All right, so leave it.
Yes.
Okay.
Original language.
Number 13. A little hard. I'd like to change it to read, security bars should be installed to align with the vertical and horizontal mullions and muntins of doors and windows wherever possible.
I think this is one, when I looked this over with Alex, even he was like, we need a little more explanation from you. Like, what is happening here?
But we're talking about a door, so chances are it doesn't have more than the surrounding mullions. It might have muntins, a grid, and if you put security door bars on that door or window, the bars should line up with the muntins, so it doesn't add additional clutter to the window.
So this is like if you put a storm door on the front, it has to line with the, like, divisions in the door.
No, that's a different section.
Well,
These are
I'm just saying,
security
like,
bars.
same,
like
Oh,
that.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you're not having like,
Right.
This is what I grew up with in South Africa. Every single window has steel bars, and they're bolted in, and then the doors, every door has a trellis door, which is like a triangle grid door that folds on itself like in every single home. And you never get a clear view. You're always looking through grid, metal, something, because people throw a brick through the window all the time. I've never seen this in the village.
I was
don't
gonna say,
have
does
managed-
anybody have them
there's
here?
one on Shaw. Yeah,
Okay.
that has it.
And is
It's-
that, can
it's
you buy
decorative.
those custom made to match, or do they just?
They measure and then they make them, they'll weld them, and then they either bolt them into the wooden frame of the window, or if it's block, they'll drill the holes and actually put it in and then caulk it and cement it into the masonry structure.
Sounds like you grew up in West Philly.
West Philly. I mean, David's left us with an opening where he says wherever possible.
Right.
So that's kind
So I'm
of,
fine with it.
like if
I'm
someone
okay
came and
with
said,
this one.
if he came and said, hey, this is the best product in the market, it doesn't line up vertically and horizontally, but he showed that he made efforts or she made efforts wherever possible, I think we can.
It's a should, so I'm not being too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start getting worried if we have security bar.
Exactly. I mean, so I'm not too concerned.
Yeah.
but-
That's what we have council for, thankfully, so,
Ready?
okay.
It's done. 14, oh, that's it. So we have finally gotten through E.
C. Now we're on D.
D1.
Sorry, that's right, C. Brought up storm doors and windows, here we are. Number one, storm windows and storm doors must not compromise the architectural character of the openings or casings to which they are applied, period.
My argument is we should leave in the language as it stands to be consistent with every other section that uses this language.
Well, since we don't put that at the beginning of every lettered section,
Yes, we do. Either we should put it in or we should take them all out, but we should be consistent. Putting it in,
leave it as it was.
okay?
The N must be congruous in the Pinehurst.
When we're talking about storm and screen doors, this is on every facade, not just street facing? I know storm doors. Okay.
Two, no change. No gripes. Number three, storm windows with a meeting rail must align with the meeting rail of the window to which they are applied. They should be installed so that the existing window and frames are not damaged or obscured. I don't think that's possible now that I'm thinking about it. If
But
you have a storm door that aligns with the meeting rail of the door behind it, it's obscuring the door.
It's talking about windows, not doors.
Because the next one's the doors.
Same thing. If it's aligning with the piece behind it, it's obscuring it.
Oh, okay. So not, Yeah, so obscured is not the word. I mean, really, I assume they should be installed so that the existing frames are obscured, right? If you're doing it right, aren't you technically?
Yeah, think of a
Right.
double hung, a simple double hung window. You know, if you're going to put a storm window on top of it, and you've got to have a muntin in it, it's going to line with the meeting rail of the window behind it. So you don't end up with,
I think you can delete that whole second sentence. They should be installed so the existing windows and frames are not damaged or obscured.
Yeah.
I mean,
Either
they can
that,
damage their own property if they want to damage it. We don't govern whether
Right.
someone wants to damage their own frame.
either that, or we could say they should be installed so that existing window glazing or window glass is not obscured.
But we technically want it obscured.
No, you
the
don't.
glass,
Not the
but
glass. You want the
Okay, not the
meeting
glass,
rail.
yes, yes, okay, yeah.
I
you
guess
could-
I'm leaning toward Richard, it's just too complicated for a simple idea. And just
Take it out.
last sentence. And is this a should or a must in the first sentence?
must.
Must.
We're okay with must.
Damage is out of our purview. Someone doesn't come to us for
I feel like
COA
damage
for
was-
damage. It's only if they're going to replace
That was
something
probably
or-
not the word we were originally looking for.
I don't think they meant.
Yeah.
Number 4, storm doors should have full view glass or mullions that align with meeting stiles, rails, and muntins of the door.
You
It's
had
the
a
same
bunch of commas in
concept
there.
As 3, only for doors.
And I just had the question to understand, I understand what meeting rails are, but are there such a thing as meeting stiles? Right, so when I read this, I didn't know if meeting was modifying both.
Oh, yeah.
Can you, maybe Kara will know how to fix that.
Is it, so there's styles, meeting rails? Is styles is separate?
Yeah, it should be
So
a
just
comma
switch
there.
meeting and styles. So it should just align with
Styles,
the
meeting
styles, comma, meeting rails, comma.
Okay,
and mullions.
styles.
Well, there aren't, I'm not
Meeting
sure there are
rails.
meeting rails either.
That's not a thing?
Meeting
Get
rails.
rid of meeting.
Meeting rail on a double hung sash. Oh, yeah.
Why I put stiles in there.
Be as generic as saying that align with other visible divisions of the
Call them
Door?
muntins. Muntins works, absolutely. You could say storm doors should have full view glass or mullions that align with existing muntins, period.
Do the mullions align with muntins? Hold on, now I need to.
Or the mullion is the outer frame on a door. But some
Okay,
likely,
okay, so the whole thing.
if you had a
okay.
monster door like in a church, you might have more mullions. But
Okay.
house, unlikely. So can we just strike the meeting style, rails, styles, rails, and mullions?
So just that align with the
existing muntins
existing
of the door.
muntins of the door?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
5. Storm window and storm doors should be finished to match the window or door to which they are applied.
Sounds good.
If you have a vinyl window and you're doing a storm window, it might be painted wood. As long as it looks the same color, who cares? Yeah, it does say that. We okay with that?
I'm good.
6, screen doors should be finished to match the window or door to which they are applied. Same thing, only
Okay, question. Are we assuming that a screen door is just the frame with a screen? Because there's a lot of screen doors that have intricate details. Do those need to match the back, the door that's behind it? Does that make sense? So same thing as storm doors. There's screen doors that you would put on, over your door. Do they stylistically need to match the door that's underneath it? I'm asking this selfishly.
Do you mean something that's, excuse me, scrolly?
So like, as an example, I have a 9-light half door right in the back. So if I wanted to put a screen door on, in front of it, would I have to get a screen that either the whole door was a screen or just the part of the 9-light was a screen? Or could I do something with like a Chippendale on the bottom or straight rails on the bottom? Does that make sense? There's like a lot of different screen door designs.
I'm wondering if David would describe by including the word finished, what does that entail? Does that mean,
Yeah, like style or just paint.
right,
I'm thinking just the
Finishes
outer
the-
coating,
yeah.
whether it's vinyl or
not,
aluminum.
right? So in that case, you would not be required to
I
match.
guess I'm struggling with this because I'm trying to, I don't know if I don't know if that I've seen any in Pine Wild anywhere, screen doors.
Craftsman sort of style bungalow, where you'd probably see that the most. But we can, I mean, that could also be reworked to say screen doors must be compatible, match or be compatible with window or door to which they're applied.
We have should in here. So
know
given that, we have a lot of leeway.
Well, we're saying
But
should
that's
be
for
finished, but if
finish,
you
yeah.
change and you said it's got to be compatible, right? I think we're all in agreement. That goes without saying that anything you attach to it should be compatible with the structure, should be compatible with the window. So it goes without saying that's a must,
Yeah.
the compatibility piece.
Because admittedly, any of those cute screen doors would look ridiculous on my door. And I'm probably not the only person who's looking at screen doors that are like cute but not appropriate.
I think that I guess I'd leave the question of the screen door design back to like you're suggesting, Richard, back to the overriding must be compatible with the existing architecture.
Thinking on your road, God, Roxanne, your road is Cherokee?
Cherokee, yes,
Okay, Cherokee and Fields, there was that Craftsman that came before us.
yes.
They've got shutters with sort of a cutout in the shutter. I don't know if it's a Christmas tree or a pineapple tree or something, but it's craftsman-y, it's little details like that. Now, if someone picked up that on a screen door, it would not look, that screen door wouldn't look right on my house, but they could say they've picked up that same element and corbels and all the little details around that house. It could be compatible with that house.
Sure, and it would look good, yeah, yeah.
Maybe the compatibility is the way we handle that instead of because it gives us the leeway to, again, look at the house, hear the testimony, and hear from the applicant as to whether it's compatible or not, and then
So if we're silent on the design of the door, not the finish, I think we still have to address the finish, but if we're just silent on it, then it goes back to the opening paragraph.
Of this section of D? Or of,
Three.
okay, all the way up to the top? Oh, yeah.
One that says has to be compatible with the existing architecture and congruous, those
Right,
two.
with the district. So,
I mean, right now, that's not really limiting what the screen door looks like at all.
Yeah,
It's
because,
only talking about what color it is.
the
well,
finish.
and
So-
compatible with, like, again, this is just an easy example for me. The doors that I'm talking about are like super, like John's house, like any of the houses down Cherokee, it would look so cute on. It would not be compatible with the style of my house, but it's still technically congruous with
Well,
the historic
congruous
Could be both.
is more, it isn't only about,
another house having it. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It still has to look right on the house it's on.
Right. I mean, if you think people would interpret it that way.
Okay, so the installation of storm doors and windows, which would include screen doors, it's minor work.
Yep.
So staff is going to look at this and with this right now, it's basically, is it in a Village of Pinehurst color from the color palette? Is that approvable? We're not really looking at what it looks like as far as compatibility. But if someone came to us with some outrageous looking screen door that had dancing Smurfs on it or something, we would elevate that. I would not be comfortable saying, yeah, sure, put this on your front door. Maybe the rear door, nobody's going to see it.
Well, and that's why I was asking if these are only applicable to street facing or rear.
So they would all be staff approval, but I like to think we're smart enough that when we see something that we're just like, this is really, I'm having to put a whole lot of thought into this, I'm just going to send it to you guys, because I don't want to make the decision. So
And how often,
we do think about that when we're looking at things.
Every time.
If I have to go to everybody and be like, what do you think of this? And I'm still not comfortable, it's coming to you.
I'm all for that.
yeah, I am
So
too.
if we just left it the way it is,
Okay, Alex is here, we're done, right?
We're making good progress.
My vote is we
We're making very good
remain
progress.
silent on the design.
Back to the original language.
On,
so we're just, as long as it's painted in a color from the color palette.
no, it has to match the door behind it. That's what we're saying.
To be finished to match the window or door. Oh, wait, is this screen door, so this is screen doors or windows should be finished to match the window or door to which they're applied?
We have
Number
2. 5
6.
addresses windows and storm doors. 6 addresses screen doors. They both essentially say they have to be finished to match the thing behind it.
Do we want to add windows, though, for number 6?
We address that elsewhere.
So if you had, for example, if you had a mahogany front door and you wanted to put a screen on it, I don't know why you would, but if you did, then we're saying they have to use a mahogany framed screen door. Right?
So materials in color.
No, we're
Finish.
saying it
Is
has
that
to,
what we
it
mean
has to
by
have a
finish?
mahogany finish.
Right.
Or the color of mahogany.
Could be
I
vinyl
wouldn't
that's a
say you'd
really
have
good
to use
fake of-
mahogany. You could use a paint that blended with the mahogany. You just don't want someone to put a white screen door on a dark mahogany, regular front door, so that you see that contrast. That doesn't look good. I think that's the whole point.
So that, I mean, that's what the original wording is
Right.
saying, so do we
Right.
need to change it? It's pretty clear. I think for
Please do.
staff, it's clearer this way.
So 6 is, make sure I've caught up on all our thoughts. 6 is going to read, screen doors should be finished to match the window or door behind, to which they are applied, period.
Okay, the only thing I would change is it says screen doors, and then it says match the window or door. It should be screen doors or screen windows. Window screens or doors.
That's what I was saying.
Right, and you're right,
Oh, I
Thank
see.
you.
I'm with you.
right?
We're covering windows elsewhere, so we just take window off of there.
Right.
Finished to match the door to which they are applied.
We're talking screens, not storms. We haven't talked anything about screen on windows.
Okay, so you're saying,
Window screens and doors, or,
Just copy number 5, but use screen instead of storm. It could be the exact same sentence. Yeah.
Screen doors or windows should be finished to match the window or door to which they are applied. Okay?
Okay?
and that's just like number 5, right? We're not combining them, we're still having 5 and 6. Yes. Good job, Maria. All right. Yay.
number 7, it is preferable to use interior storm windows in lieu of exterior storm windows if possible. Number.
was-
Wait.
1E.
What?
That was for clarity.
I
think.
didn't like that, because I hate to say, I think grammatically it's awkward. If we could say something like, the use of interior storm windows is preferred over exterior storm windows. I think
Same
that's a lot
thing.
clearer. The use of interior storm windows is preferred over exterior storm windows.
Can you just say interior storm windows are preferred over exterior storm windows? Or do you have to have the use?
Fine as written, but I don't.
Whatever. I just think it's kind of in lieu of, if possible. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I would just say interior storm windows are preferred over exterior storm windows. Then you can get rid of half the sentence.
Right. I agree.
Got that one, Maria?
Interior storm windows
David.
are preferred over exterior.
Unless you think someone's gonna,
If possible, leaving the if possible
Right.
in there.
Okay.
Okay.
I have exterior storm windows.
I don't think I've ever seen an interior one.
Yes.
so what is an interior storm?
Oh,
Yeah, I always had interior ones. Yeah, and this time I have exterior, which I hate because they get the pollen on them. You
interior
can't
in
clean
my
them.
last house. in fact.
Screens? Like they're like,
Shutters and awnings.
Item
I
one,
think-
no change.
Yeah, that section is, put a big X. It's already changed in the standard.
I made a few other changes.
What?
Well,
My colleague over here was gonna have something on this section.
so number one, no change. Any gripes? Number two, should to must. Important one in my mind about details that affect the look of the house.
Okay, wait, are we
They're
looking?
damaged beyond repair. Damaged beyond being able to be retained or preserved.
Okay, wait a minute. This document we're looking at on the screen is not the current document in the standards. So let's not look at the old one.
We've got
I
so
updated-
many
I
going
updated.
around.
I don't know what that one is.
That's what I'm saying.
You'd have to go back and look at the current standards, because they're different.
This is the current standards, red marked, the one I sent out. Because I went back and redid it all when you guys.
Is what you're
pointed
looking
out
at the same that's on the screen, David? Can you see?
All right, I don't have this one.
We did have several versions going around.
Well, number one matches.
Yes.
Okay, so find me one that doesn't match.
Look at two, the should to must.
On the screen, but I'm looking at my
Number two matches.
standards.
Doesn't match what's in my,
Doesn't, what you're looking at here doesn't match what's in the standards that we have right now.
Okay, here's what I did. I went online. I got the latest one. And it had a date on it that matched what was on the website as the latest one. And I red marked that one again.
Right. It's not the same as what's,
Have something different, I don't know.
I'd have to go online and look and make sure wherever you found it was the updated one. But
anybody else have their standard book? Does it match? Whoops, it was on here. I was going to say, does it match what's on there? Because mine does not.
That date should be October of '22, right?
Because I had to go through.
the one that I'm reading is October 22, and it is what's on that.
didn't we send
But
you
I
some
want,
too?
like, that.
The newest one?
I have the newest one. The one I red marked. It came off the website
Okay,
with the
so
latest
Maria
date
has the
that
wrong
matches what you say the latest date should be, and it matches the date on the website.
Well, what is number 2 on your paper?
Before I changed number two, so the original language was, shutters that contribute to the overall historic form and character of a structure, including their functional and decorative features, should be retained and preserved.
So number 2 in the current standard says each shutter must be equal to the height of the window
Thank you.
opening.
Oh, that's not what
Must
I
be
have
one
either.
half the width and should appear to cover the whole window should they be closed. It says, whatever you found, or it's still not matching up with what we have right now.
David, I think you and I have the same one, and mine's the October 28th one that I think you were.
But mine's the
talking about.
October 28th one also.
Oh,
I'm in
well, then
October
they're labeled
28th.
wrong.
Here it is.
Yeah, I have whatever was up before.
Guess I don't know.
Well, I guess this is a good place to stop.
All right, so here we have the current standards.
What's the date on this one?
It's the one that's on the website.
It gets October 28th, 2022.
That's what I have, but I have a different one. I don't know where this was just labeled. Yeah, but it was literally just the title up here. Hold on.
The file from you.
I got, I was just reading it.
I thought I sent you one, which I got from our P drive. All right, I don't know what's going on with shutters and awnings. Let's skip over that section for now.
Anything been not working well with shutters and awnings?
I'd have to go
Maybe
back,
both versions are working great.
I'd have to go back and see whatever the correct version is, whatever that is, and see if I still have the same copy.
Yeah, I have 10/28/22, but mine says original, so we probably changed it to that.
And a lot of these changes incorporate a lot of your concerns, which is good.
That would be very
That is good.
Okay.
But I think shutters and awnings, we haven't really had any up with
Well,
that.
I want to have a shot at reading it. So I don't want to say blanket without it.
All right.
I've done it twice. I'll do it a third time. I
I'll
just
make
need
sure
to
you
know
get
what
the
I'm working
current.
with.
Let's knock it out. It shouldn't take long. No?
Well, is this the one that we're reading?
That matches what I have.
This
This
is
one
the
does?
current one that Maria has up now. This is it.
current one.
Okay.
It was going great until Alex showed up.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know what to say, guys. Let me have another shot at E, if you don't mind. We'll skip
I
over
feel like you
E.
looked at this and even you said, okay, most of your changes were already addressed in it, so to not do those. I swear somewhere I have an email, David.
Can we
Right,
go
I
through
remember
this
that.
He wants to-
here? Can we just do it here? Or do,
Let me go back and see what I screwed up. 'Cause apparently I screwed it up.
He wants to feel confident that he's addressed the right ones.
Here's your
Out of sequence, that's all.
That will help you.
I think this covers most of them, so we can touch this at a later date.
We made good progress, I think.
Yeah, and if David's not comfortable and he wants to go through it again, I'm fine with that, so.
can we do chimneys, or is the rest of this not?
Those were your
I think
comments
he
and
hasn't
reds.
looked at any of
Okay.
I believe
this using
I've
the
been
current
through-
document.
Have the wrong one, printed out the wrong ones. My mistake. I just want to go confirm it so we can just take a pause on E. Okay with
I
that?
think that's very appropriate. And we can, so we have two sections left that we can work through at the next work session. And if we go at the same pace we did on this one, I think we'll make it. I think we'll accomplish it.
But do you want to go through chimneys quick now? Because that's the last section we have.
that-
Yeah, let's do that. We're on a roll. If Alex leaves, we'll have no problems.
You don't have to tell me twice.
We're fine. We've been making good progress.
Thanks for your help. Appreciate that.
It's budget season for department heads.
He has lots to do.
I know, don't start yet.
All right, chimneys, number 1, no change. 2, no change.
I just wanted to suggest, when we say in paragraph 1, must be congruous with chimneys in the Pinehurst Historic District, to be consistent with the language in all the other sections, delete that word chimneys. It should read, must be congruous with the Pinehurst Historic District.
I agree.
Because that's what we say in the other sections.
Right.
yeah. Okay.
No, I'm good with 2.
Number 3, and if an existing chimney feature is completely missing and is to be replaced, it must be replaced with a new feature, matching the original feature or other design compatible in scale, size, material, color, and character of the structure.
Do we need if an existing chimney feature is completely missing and is that the only situation in which you can replace a chimney? Is if a feature is completely missing? Or could we just start with if chimneys must be replaced with,
Have a brand
Only
spanking
want to
new
replace them
chimney,
if it was completely missing.
like if you're doing an addition to an existing house, then you might have a brand new chimney, or you might just add a chimney or want to add a chimney. This one's about
the
an
feature?
existing chimney.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with 3.
As written, yeah.
If repair of an entire chimney, chimney feature, or deteriorated detail or element is necessary, it should be limited to the minimal amount necessary and replaced in kind, matching the existing composition, dimension, size, shape, color, pattern, and texture. So 3 deals with an existing chimney that you're fixing. Number 4 is an entire chimney.
Yeah, so 3 is a feature of something, or of the chimney is missing. And then 4 is repairing the whole chimney.
So 3 says if an existing feature is completely missing and is to be replaced. Mhm. And then 4, the entire chimney.
For the entire chimney, there are 2 subparagraphs. A, new mortar and brick must match the existing color.
Now, we have it changed to should on here.
Yeah, it's really tough to do that, particularly if it's a really old house. So I'm inclined to back off the must, because if you have a 1910 brick chimney, you might have an impossible time trying to match the brick. Which means now the question is it okay to patch an existing, well, it's an entire chimney, so I guess that's possible.
Sorry.
It's not the entire chimney. It could be a feature.
Yeah, it seems like 3 is talking about replacement and 4 is talking about repair.
The other way around.
He's just talking about, let's say, a feature of the chimney. The other one is repair or replacement.
I don't see that. Are we looking at the same language? 3 says if an existing chimney feature is completely missing or is to be replaced. Okay. 4 says if repair of an entire chimney feature, or deteriorated detail or element is necessary. It doesn't have to be the entire chimney. It's either or.
Right, so it's repair versus replacement.
Right.
But
That's what
then
I'm seeing too.
in 4B, we have replacement, which doesn't,
Why
that's
don't we just strike 3 altogether? 4 covers both replacement. If we leave in the words or replacement,
Yeah.
4 covers it all.
yeah, if you got rid of 3 and added, would it be if repair or replacement of an entire chimney, blah, blah, blah?
Right, which is what original language.
And then 4B, though, also talks about replacement.
Yeah.
And it's,
Replacement material, which could be for a part or the whole thing. Replacement material should match the existing in composition. So
isn't that the same thing we say in the main body of 4, though? Matching the existing composition, dimension, size, shape, blah, blah, blah. Like, do you need 4B if you have? Yeah, because, so in number 4, you have if repair of X, Y, and Z is necessary, it should be limited and replaced in kind. So you're talking about replacement or repair. Right?
all right, I think I can get rid of 3
Mm-hmm.
and A and B. It would read, if repair or replacement of an entire chimney or chimney feature or deteriorated detail or element is necessary, it should be limited to the minimal amount necessary and replaced in kind, matching the existing in composition, dimension, size, shape, color, pattern, and texture,
Can
period.
you do, it would be limited to the minimal amount necessary and repaired or replaced in kind, since we're talking about both of them? That makes sense?
Yeah, okay, repaired or replaced.
All right, we're at number 4?
Okay, so we're getting rid of number 3.
Okay, I'm okay with that, since it's chimney
I'll
features
read
in
it
4.
again with your new change.
No A and B.
No A and B.
So just if repair or replacement of an entire chimney, chimney feature, or deteriorated detail or element is necessary, it should be limited to the minimal amount necessary and repaired or replaced
Yep.
in kind, and the rest is the same?
Because color picks up the brick one, and the rest of that is redundant in B, so we saved a lot of words.
Remove A and B altogether.
What about keeping in the phrase about using the original material is preferred?
Yeah. Just
Wanna
add that at the
at
end.
the end? That's coming off of the end of B.
Is that if possible?
I would-
Wherever
Should be
possible.
Wherever.
Not if, wherever.
You're right, wherever.
So at the end of 4, after texture, if we did a comma, but using the original material is preferred,
I would just make it
second
a
sentence.
sentence.
Separate sentence.
Yeah, just using the,
just using the original material, okay.
Or
Or
you're gonna say
use of,
Use
use
of,
of, yeah.
of the original material is preferred.
Ready for 5? Chimneys visible from the street must be repaired or rebuilt rather than removed.
I don't like that, being must. I guess I feel like if I had a house that had a chimney and I wanted, it had to come down for whatever reason, and I didn't want to rebuild it because I don't have a working fireplace anymore, I'd be required to put it back.
Part of the original architecture. I mean, chimney is a huge piece of the design of the structure.
Maybe part of the original architecture, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's essential to that structure or defining feature or defining character.
we also approved one on Ritter that is now very much street facing, is not part of the original. So it might not be. So if somebody bought that house and they were like, I don't like this, could they take it down?
I think should,
Should,
Yeah,
and
and
it comes
again-
before you, and you can look at it on a case-by-case basis and see.
but David, you're 100%, you have the meat behind you. If it is a defining feature, it's a prominent chimney, it should, but we're gonna say you're gonna fundamentally change the character of this home. And taking it down just would not be compatible with the structure and the overall design.
I can dream up situations where it would be a disaster, but if that were the case, I'm sure we'd jump all over it, so.
You need to stay on the commission for when that day comes.
The retirement.
Okay, so we're going to stick with should.
Should.
Number 6, chimney stacks should not have stucco or parging applied over the foundation.
Arching. Asking for a friend.
It's in our glossary, so I didn't have a problem.
Concrete, but it's very thin,
Like a screening, like a ephes or a stucco?
actually concrete.
It's defined in the glossary as a thin coating of plaster or mortar. So the fact we use it in the glossary, I don't have a problem with using it in the standard.
I do because I know it's prone to failure, and if you've got a beautiful chimney that's been sitting there for 50 years.
No, Roxanne's saying she's okay keeping the word in because they can go look
Define
for
in the
it.
guidelines.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I was just commenting to this comment on here, staff could use some clarifications here. I thought they wanted clarification on purging, but it's in the
Yes,
glossary.
it
That's
was.
what I meant.
All right,
Problem I have
so-
with parging is that it cracks and
Yes.
looks crappy quickly.
Yes. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it in here,
All
what
right,
you
so,
did.
new wording.
Hardsing, by the way, doesn't do a lot of stabilizing, so that's,
I haven't searched the document. Is it listed in other, how many other times is it listed in the standards? Okay.
Number 7, chimneys on exterior walls should be brick or stone from grade to top of chimney.
Fine with that?
It's not a must, but
Came in with an existing chimney that wasn't one of those. I don't know what it would be, but if they did, let's say it was board and bat, worst case. Would we make them, and they wanted to fix it or replace it, would we make them put it back with brick?
Well, that's like the stucco one we approved on Ritter, which I still, like if somebody wanted, if that needed repair, are they, because we approved it as stucco, so I assume we would have to approve it as stucco again.
Well, the should gives us room to think about it. Okay, done with 7?
Done.
Wooden box chimneys are not permitted.
Mine shows appropriate with all these corrections.
I have permitted in mine. But who knows which version I'm using? I don't know. What is, do you guys
Goes
have?
back and forth.
Purple, that's the staff.
don't look at
comment.
that.
Not that, yeah, I have permitted in whatever one this is.
You have the latest version.
Yes. Probably.
David, my preference would be to go back to not appropriate. Only because there's been a lot of new construction that have done hardy plank or from peak of roof up. So it's, I don't know, that's got to do with, I'm sure, weight and not having the whole thing brick and all that load coming down and then however they pick up all that weight. But I'd say the majority of the new construction or even the remodels that have come before us, that top part that you see from the roof it's trim that they pick up from the rest of the house. And on the outside, I think.
Is this what they look like?
When you talk of hardy plank, I know what hardy plank
No
is.
siding, like,
It's concrete fiber, but, yeah, but that's not, but
cementous siding.
but we're talking wooden box chimneys. We're not talking hardy plank or that material. And maybe we should address it.
Is this a dumb question? How do wooden chimneys not get hot?
Insulated with,
Have that clay flume.
Seems
Well,
ill-advised.
To me, those are box chimneys. It's a box around.
oh, I agree, but it says wooden box chimneys, and they're not wooden.
Hardy plank
They're
is
made from wood.
mostly wood.
Are they? I thought hardy plank was fiber cement. Yeah. Oh, the fiber is wood? Oh, okay.
Fiber.
Like that picture that we just looked at, you got wooden board, then you got sheathing, then you got the planks, then you got, whether it's cementous siding or wooden siding, then you got the Miratec on the trim, but to me, that's a box chimney. It looks like a box. And we get a lot of those, and there's a lot of houses that have that.
So can we not even say that they're not permitted then if we have them?
But that's my thing. I'm saying they're not appropriate, but that allows someone to come and plead the case. Like on Linden, the new one that they're finally making some progress on
I
there.
would-
but
I would
that's-
prefer
You can
to
see
just-
that, and
I just prefer to be silent. We've covered that, the finishing of the chimneys pretty well in our brand spanking new number 3. And I don't think we need it at all. I'd just take it off.
So take out number 8?
the whole of 8.
All of 8. If somebody who comes in with a beautiful design, it's got a box chimney above the roof, okay. Sitting on an existing old house and it looks okay, okay.
Are they ever like unattractive Or, well, I feel like that one's like a, I don't know.
Remember, we're not dealing with attractive, we're dealing with congruent. But, so that,
Well said, Richard.
okay. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yes, yes.
I've seen, there's $2.5 million houses in the village where, to that person, that's the most beautiful house on earth, and to me it is, but it has a chimney like that up. So,
Oh, okay, so all of these.
Take it off. Can we scratch 8?
so Maria, for staff, when someone comes to you and says, I want to do a box chimney, you know, like at 170, I can list 100 houses in the village that have the picture that we just saw. If someone comes to you, just taking out 8 inhibit your ability to give them appropriate guidance, because they come and say, I want to do this, and I want to wrap it in cementitious siding to match the house, and you're like, it's not permitted, but it's not recommended, so you go in front of HPC. Does that hamstring you guys not having, you know, sufficient direction to coach them on their application?
I mean, it would make it a little more difficult, because I would have no idea what to tell them. You might approve it, you might not approve it.
Oh, you can always rely on the opening paragraph. Is it compatible with the existing architecture? That's the overriding question to ask.
And there are examples of it in the historic district now, probably.
I like saying it's not appropriate and let them say it is.
But these are also used for new,
Not
which is
appropriate,
probably more when we're going to see it.
But to show it is appropriate.
I don't,
Puts a burden proof on the applicant.
Remodel of an existing property. If it's not appropriate, then it still gives staff to say it's not appropriate, but you're matching all the other features of the house, it's the same color. If you can plead the case and show that it's compatible, then at least it gives staff something to guide them on. I think if we don't have it there, I like your idea of taking it out, that's the whole message here, but if we take it out, then staff's like, it's a toss-up, you know.
The first thing I do when I look at, before I read your comments or the appropriate sections, I just look at it. Does this make sense? Does this house look like it's supposed to be? I rely on that one statement right at the start. Is it compatible with the existing architecture? And it either is or isn't. And I kick myself for one we approved with an entry gable that looks like this.
Yeah.
Where every other slope on the house is like this.
Yep.
Why I didn't say something, I have no
Yep.
idea.
Yes, why indeed? Why?
Not in the book. You will find nothing in here, but that one question I didn't ask. Is it appropriate? Does it
I guess I just don't see how this is not congruous or not compatible with some of the styles that are congruous in the village. So I would just err on the side of maybe not appropriate, but probably not.
I was going to say, just for additional guidance for everybody, I would leave it in, is not appropriate.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then it'll come before you and you decide.
yeah.
And we leave on new construction and additions? Number 9, no comments. Roxanne?
It's good?
Number 10, existing chimneys must not be covered with materials that do not match the existing materials. This is an existing house with an existing chimney.
Can we just say existing chimneys must be covered with materials that match the existing materials?
Well, we kind of already do, but I guess, to me, it's worth being a little redundant.
Okay.
This one appears to be one that no longer exists in the current document, but that doesn't mean we can't put some language in. Am I correct on that, Maria?
This is the existing document.
Well, that,
Sure,
Yeah, we replaced it for number 10. We replaced this with what that says, or vice versa.
Number 10 is in,
It's been, what's struck out.
yeah, everything that,
is what's
he's
in our
basically
existing document.
striking out everything that's in there and
We just
rewording it.
Yeah.
Completely replaced it.
It's in there.
Had we just fixed that one earlier? I fixed it again. I don't know the history.
You reworded it, basically.
Okay.
So the way it reads now, it says existing chimneys must not be covered with materials that do not match the existing materials. My issue with that is you could interpret that to mean it would allow painting it if the color matches the existing material. And I don't know if that's something,
The material. So if it's painted and you want to cover it up, you got to cover it up with something that's painted.
but the way this is worded doesn't prohibit that. They must not be covered with materials that do not match, meaning they can be covered with materials that do match. And if the color of the paint matches the brick, you could paint it.
So brick or stucco or,
Okay, I'm not going to worry about it because I don't think it'll come up, but there's some vagueness to that. But it's okay.
and we can't, we have it somewhere else that says existing chimneys must be covered with materials that match the existing materials? You like intentionally,
No, we talk about repair, replacement. Pretty well covered. And I can't imagine somebody with an existing house covering up a chimney just for the sake of covering it up.
yeah.
Where I used to live, they did it all the time with stone. They would put a stone veneer over brick to make it look more fairy tale-like.
I've seen
I've seen
that. Or
people
they,
use like artificial
they may just paint it.
stones.
Yes, the veneer, yes,
That's Carmel by the Sea.
yes. I mean, and it was an issue because they don't allow you to veneer stone, but that was the thing people wanted to do. So it's not uncommon. Now here, maybe not so much because the brick is,
And I could see people wanting to paint it, which I probably wouldn't consider that a material if I were looking it over. They're just.
What if you had a stucco chimney that you wanted to put brick veneer on to make it look more congruous? Right? I mean, I'm
That'd
just
be
saying.
easy to accept when it's submitted.
Okay.
So,
But then if we have must
Are you
not, are they
rewriting it
not?
just to make it less wordy?
I'm confused. What's wrong with 10 as it stands?
Which one? The paint thing?
On the right-hand side of our screen, not the edited version, but what's currently in the standards. What is wrong with 10? What are our issues with 10 as is? Seems like it does the same thing that David's suggesting.
It's just more words.
Yeah. They've got a lot of words in there. Can do it in fewer.
Trying to simplify
Yeah.
the wording.
I'm looking at your list of various stuff in there. It looks like you covered pretty much everything I can imagine.
So I think sometimes people need it spelled out a little bit more, though.
I think we're all about shortening this document and getting rid of redundancy, but to me, there's no redundancy in that. It's pretty much listed out.
Okay, I'm okay.
leave it as is.
Was.
That.
And as is the paint, cement, coating, whatever, all that. Do you want applied to chimneys that are not currently or were not historically covered in those materials? Because covered at all, historically covered, I mean, weren't they all technically historically covered with something?
Back to reduce the words by.
I know, well, I'm just going,
I think, I mean, the way I would read it is the way it is now, you're not covering it up with one of these things that it wasn't already on there. I don't think adding those additional words is going to clarify it anymore. I think it's understood.
okay.
Number 11.
Last one.
Chimney caps and shrouds should match existing caps and shrouds and should be compatible with the architectural style of the structure. I just pretty much added shrouds because it's, chimney cap's a piece, but there's another piece that's not a cap, so. Most chimneys have shrouds and caps. Okay?
Good change.
All right, next section. Did you guys get the next section? Good, I didn't do it either.
Oh, I was like, oh, no.
I was looking at David. I was like,
Call Alex back in here.
Yeah. I mean, just notice, you left.
All right, next time we come in, I'll get that section, whatever it is.
Okay,
Shutters, I believe.
cost perspective. I know we've done a lot that hasn't come to council yet. Do we want to wrap this up in a bow and bring it to council and get these updates made? And then maybe lick our wounds over the next session or two and then come back for some larger items in here that we need to tackle?
I mean, unless Pam wants to butt in, and
I've been known to butt
Yeah.
in before.
I would rather talk to Alex and see if he wants us to go over, because I know he wants to dig into some of the commercial stuff, fences, site features, stuff
Industrial.
like that. And I think he would prefer to present it all to council as one.
But don't we still need to
I'm going to
look over the
voice
shutters and awnings before that
Yes.
as well?
Either way, yes.
I don't, that sounds like with
It's-
as written
we-
shutters, it's not going to be, sounds like there may be one or two minor word changes.
Well, as this goes to get this other stuff done, I'm going to be dead.
Yeah,
Legacy.
let's do talk with Alex, although I could certainly see us taking this package, for us to tackle the entire document before we ever go to council with any suggested changes, you're right, it could be another 2, 3 more years. And these are important, or we wouldn't have been working on them, or you, for as long as you have. So I would support going to council, but of course Alex has the final say. We want to do the shutters and awnings before we even consider that, but let's talk with him, and then we can review that again at the next meeting.
And I don't want to waste anybody's time, but there's lots of commas
Yes.
that need to be fixed.
I'm sure
So
that's
once
true.
we're all done with this, if I can just like sit down and redline them.
Do your comments.
Thanks.
So you're saying you'd go to council with only part of section 3, not the whole?
All of 3.
All the changes that we've gone over so far.
No, but section 3 goes through subparagraph N, which is paint. And we are only on F, which is chimneys. So my question is, does it make sense to go to council with half of a section?
No, I don't think we're saying we're going to council next week. But I think what we're saying is, let's make a concerted effort to wrap up this section. And then knowing that we're not going to be able to finish in a timely fashion, commercial, some of these other things on new construction, fences, outbuildings, playground equipment, there's a whole lot of stuff. If it's taken us, we're a very detail-oriented bunch. If this is sort of, not semantics, it's important, but it's more
Very.
on the semantic side, with stuff really hasn't held us up. But some of those other pieces in the commercial, those truly are massive gray areas. And I think we can keep doing this for 3 or 4 months and get this section wrapped up, but that's the stuff that's going to bite us. That's the stuff we need to get addressing now. So, but I don't want to come back to this, the rest of the section, it takes us another 2 or 3 sessions to do at the end of the year. So I don't know if we create a hard stop, we say we're good with this at this point, maybe add paint or something like that, the color palette that pops up pretty often, but then immediately turn to the meat and bones, the important stuff, the material stuff. And I don't know, it'll be Alex's call if we wait to get that stuff done before going to council, or we say, we've reached a pretty good point, let's get this to council, it's not perfect, but we're done. We're not going to touch that again for a while.
Yeah.
Let's focus on commercial and some of these other things we need to tackle.
I have to say, you guys know how long it's taken to get through
A lot.
7 pages. We have 9 pages left. It'll be this time next year.
But we won't have Alex here.
My suggestion would be that we go with part of section 3. It's taken a long time, it's been, concerted effort. If I wait another year, I'm going to forget what we did or why we did it or what the arguments were. Let's get it.
When we present this, is this like a conversation? Or do we just say, here it is?
A very good question, and it goes back to that. If we try to go all the way through N before we make any presentation to council, that's a lot for them to digest as well, and all of us will be in a position of justifying the changes that we've made. So I know that we don't want to piecemeal it in small pieces, small sections, but going all the way through N, I think, will take a long time. I can almost imagine us revisiting some of that again before, and I could just see us getting bogged down. But to your question, Kara, I've not been through that with this council before. Generally, we present the document with the suggested amendments. Staff would present a staff report and possibly ask for some input on, you know, why these changes are important to this commission. And we would hope that some of you would be in attendance to answer questions from council. Does that make sense?
My vote is we get what we've done through.
We get shutters done, and that could almost be handled remotely. I mean, if you mark in the document, you see 3 little things, I think for the most part, to speak for everyone else, we can
Quite
get that.
frankly, I think I've already done it, and I
Yeah,
just pulled
so
the
you just need to
wrong one.
find it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we get staff to say, okay, I think we're good, and I think we've reached the fair stopping point for this section. And then I think the next work sessions we schedule, I don't know if it's 2 months out or whatever the case may be, we start tackling some of the bigger items. And in that time, somehow, in that 2-month or 3-month hiatus, whatever that is, that's when what we've done over the last year and a bit would go up to council, provided Alex is good with that and you all sign off.
Right? I could support that.
Okay.
It's good work.
Ava's done the heavy lifting, the
No, you
majority of it.
guys couldn't do it without you.
That's only because you need a quorum. No, I guess you don't. Not for this.
Okay, do I have to adjourn something?
Yeah, I'll just let you know, we have another week till the deadline for next month's meeting, but we already have 3, so.
Can I ask a question while we're here? Who came up with the paint palette? Like the selection?
I do not, someone long
Okay.
before my time here.
Because it just seems like someone kind of went like, and just like chose those and then chose those. It's just it's an interesting,
It is an interesting, and from things that have come up, people submitting things and with different colors, blue is one that is severely lacking in there,
yeah.
especially darker, like, we don't have a navy.
Yeah, and there's plenty of great, like entire sections are missing, and I think blue's one of them, and green's one of them. Like even like nice dark greens. I don't know. So, okay. Okay.
Tackle the paint palette along with your commas.
Paint and commas.
All right.
That's what I do.
I should warn you that we did talk about paint colors for roofs, and we made 0 progress. And there is only a dozen colors, so good luck with
We
that.
talked about that too, right? Don't they have a fan, right, for materials or something? When we were talking about copper?
Well, I explained that here are the big front-running suppliers, and here are the colors they offer, and here's a suggested editing of those colors. And then we got into, let's just say, a big discussion, and it never went anywhere.
That can be included.
We know we have a shortfall in the color, but I can't think of instances where it's hurt us because staff does a pretty good job of having them prep and bring samples. And I know times you've said, hey, is this ivory Dove the same as Dove White from these two? And you said, okay, we're good. You know, so I don't think it's materially affected us yet, but it is something for us to update just for the headache of having to deal with these applications and having them do all of that work when they could just point to a color that's pre-approved and it's done.
Well, and I have Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore, so I'm gonna color match those as close as
Well,
possible.
let me save you some time. I'm going to call them directly and get them to send us enough fans of the colors in our palette, just those, may not be fans, some other shape, so that all of us can have one at home. So when we're reviewing, we can look at that color instead of trying to examine what it is on the monitor,
Yeah,
and as well as for staff. So let me try that. See if I make some headway, then to save you some time.
okay.
I thought there were 7 Benjamin Moore decks.
This one has like 4 in them, so
Oh,
I
okay,
just
so
marked
those
them,
are
or
multiples.
maybe
Okay,
this one does, yeah.
Every year anyway, so.
Date of the next meeting?
March 28th.
It's Holy Thursday, I think.
You're in town?
We have Good Friday. huh?
Wait, why?
Uh-huh.
You're not in town?
I was thinking of going to the beach. We'll figure it out. Okay,
Who
I'll let
goes
you
to
know.
the beach in March?
Yeah, late March,
During
Easter.
Easter.
Yeah, yeah. I think Kara is most likely going to chair that session.
Start studying.
Got it.
Studying, Richard, did you
Applications.
study it?
I'll give you the script, it's easy. Just plug and play. Okay, any other business? We're good?
We're good.
Okay, meeting adjourned.